Let's talk about some of these insane anti gun bills that are being introduced by the liberal Democrats in Congress and cut through the BS on their chances of actually passing. There are a couple bills in Congress that people have asked me about and asked me why I haven't talked about it. And honestly, I haven't had time to talk about it. I've been kind of under the weather a little bit, more to come on that. But now I have a few minutes to discuss these bills, and we are going to cut through the BS and talk about them and the actual chances of them passing. If you want to help me make content like this, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can like, subscribe, and comment on the video, which is engagement and always helps me out. You can buy my book, which is back there, Masters of Firepower. My other book, Speaking with Giants, that was a book that was released a few years ago. Those are both back there. You can go ahead and do that. You can go to my Patreon, my locals, or just hit that join button down below and help me make videos like this. I'm going to give you the too long didn't read right now. In case you need to do something else, you can go ahead and jump off this video and go do something else, or you can stick around. I'm going to talk about why we see bills like this come up over and over again. The too long didn't read is that these bills, as they sit right now, do not have a real chance of passing. We're going to get into what the bills are and why they get introduced if they have no chance of passing. The first bill we need to discuss is by Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren herself. I know that joke is kind of worn out, but she did claim to be Native American, even though that she was only 1/1000th of a Native American, which is less than the majority of the people in the country. There is a greater chance of you being more Native American than her. That's just statistics. But her bill is for background checks on ammunition. Not only background checks on ammunition, it would also prevent bulk purchases of ammo, which I do because it's cheaper that way. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do that as well. Also, it would prevent straw purchases of ammunition, which is kind of ridiculous because right now I can go buy ammo and I can hand it over to my friend Rich or my friend Dark, no problem, not illegal. But Elizabeth Warren wants to change that. There are certain states like New York that do have background checks on ammunition, and it is failing miserably. It is being challenged in court, and I believe that it will be struck down. So that is the first bill. And now the second bill is by Cory Booker of New Jersey, and this would require a federal firearms license to buy a gun. Not a federal firearms license like an FFL that a gun store has. It would be a license that you would have to get to purchase each firearm that you own. I believe that this is really, really unconstitutional. It does not pass constitutional muster, and I doubt it will go anywhere. This would definitely be challenged in the courts, but I don't think that we are going to get to that point. Now that we know what the bills are, let's go ahead and talk about their chances of passing. The first bill is in the Senate Judiciary, where I think it will die. This bill does not have the support of the majority. You need a supermajority to pass anything out of the Senate, and not only does it have a supermajority, but it doesn't even have a majority, and I don't see that changing. I doubt this bill will even come to the floor for a vote. It's just going to be dead on arrival. The second bill with Cory Booker, that is a little more contentious. I do believe that there's more support for that bill, but overall, I do not believe that they have the majority of the people in the Senate that will vote for it, much less a supermajority. So I think this bill would be dead on arrival. I would be surprised if either of these bills made it to the Senate floor for a vote. I believe that it will not make it to the Senate floor for a vote. Now that we know what the chances of these are, I'm not saying that you shouldn't call. You should always voice your concerns. Go ahead and call at the number below and say that you do not support either of these bills. What happens is politicians will introduce bills for several different reasons. One reason is to get it passed. The second reason is for political theater. You throw out red meat for your supporters so they would jump on the bandwagon and back you in the next election because you are introducing bills that they want to see passed. Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker do have the backing of places like Everytown for gun safety, Giffords, and Brady. So this might be a bone to those guys. Sweet Bloomberg bucks do go a long way, but I doubt that this is the reason this time. I think what they are trying to do is use a strategy that a lot of people on both sides use, and that is to introduce a bill over and over and over again to build support. Feinstein did that with her assault weapons bill, and I think this is what these guys are doing with these two bills. They are going to introduce them, even though that they are going to fail to try to build support. Every session you bring it back and you add more and more co-sponsors, you get a little bit more support until you have enough to get it passed. So you would need basically to get the House, Senate, and the White House. We know the Democrats now have the Senate and the White House. They don't have the House, and I don't see them getting the House anytime soon. But what they are looking for is the future where they can either transform enough Republicans into anti-gun Republicans that would vote for one of these bills. And there are already some, such as Brian Fitzpatrick out of Pennsylvania. He's a Republican, but he's also an anti-gun Republican that is more anti-gun than a lot of his Democratic colleagues. I don't think that's a likely scenario, though. I think the more likely scenario is getting control of the Senate with a supermajority, the House, and the White House. That happens infrequently, but it does happen. The party holding all three is more common, but it's usually not a supermajority. But when a party holds all three, it is a lot easier to get a few Republicans to switch sides, such as the illustrious Fitzpatrick. So when that does happen, it usually only happens for a 2-year period. But you do want to strike when the iron is hot. So instead of working out the kinks at that point, you work them out now. So when you do have the ability to get it passed, you can throw it out there. You have all your co-sponsors lined up. You have your support lined up, and it's a lot easier for you to pass it at that point. Also, when tragedies happen, we all know Rahm Emanuel once said, never let a tragedy go to waste. You can point to those tragedies and say, hey, if my bill passed, it would have prevented that. Even though it wouldn't have, you can still use that rhetoric to try to build support for your bill and to shame your opponents into backing your bill. It's just how the sausage is made. It's just how the political games are played. And believe me, politics are gamesmanship. You need gamesmanship to be successful in politics. I wish it was not the case, but it is. So, should you not be concerned about this? No, you should be a little bit concerned, but not overly blown. What I'm worried about is the ammo bill, particularly starting another ammo panic. I know a lot of people have been panic buying ammunition, and I think there will be some people that exploit this and push panic buying once more. But you just have to be aware that this bill right now is not going anywhere. But you do have to be aware of both of these bills. And you do have to put a little bit of effort to notify your congressmen or your senators that you do not support them. If you are the squeaky wheel, you will get the grease. So it's nothing to be deathly concerned about, but you should be at least aware of what is going on. We need to engage politically. We need to be politically aware, and we do need to know how the sausage is made. So I'm not going to say the sky is falling, but it's just something that you need to be aware of and to keep in the back of your mind and do a little bit of effort, whether that's calling the congressional switchboard or sending an email or something like that. Just be the squeaky wheel and you will get the grease. All right, guys, that is it. Just wanted to make a little video about what is going on here because I see a lot of people panicking and I see other people saying it's no big deal. We shouldn't even talk about it, but it is something in the middle. So we should be aware of it and we should talk about it, but we shouldn't panic. All right, guys, that is it. So, Wolverines, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keeping the fight. I am out of here. I almost forgot my whole entire damn last line. Whatever. All right, Wolverines, motherfucker.